On today's edition of the program. Today we are looking closely at the Nigerian housing sector with the growing housing deficits that we currently are experiencing, not just within the FCT, even though the FCT is experiencing one of the worst deficits we have seen across the nation. However, there is a current gap of about 28 million units, and according to experts, Nigeria would need about 21 trillion naira to rectify the situation of the rise in housing deficits in the country. I'm joined now by my guest, who is Benjamin Ijahenda. He is a real estate expert. Thank you for joining us in Business Daily.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, let's just start off with you giving us an appraisal from your own point of view as someone who is a major player in the Nigerian real estate sector. How would you view the current state of the Nigerian real estate sector, especially with the increasing or increased housing deficit that we are currently experiencing?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. Nigeria is actually facing a lot of challenges when it comes to housing, and recently somebody was asking me, somebody engaged me in a conversation that there are a lot of abandoned projects in specifically Abuja here, and he was looking at knowing the cost of those abandoned projects and then finished houses that are no occupant. And I had to open up to tell him most of the properties he's seen there are as a result of litigations that have pinned down those projects. But aside from that, one attribute to that is the fact that there is high cost of construction, and then the process at which one will follow to acquire a land, because the most important thing in real estate is the land stock, because once you have the land, you are rest assured that you can get a property of your own, you can get a house, because it doesn't matter the pace at which you go. The most important thing is the fact that you've laid foundation to it and it's making progress. So there are a lot of factors, just like I said, exchange rate, cost of living, and income per head. All these are factors that is really, really affecting us.
Well said there, giving the detailed explanation as to what has contributed to the rising housing deficit. But there is still much more to come, as a conversation will delve into how the rising interest rate has impacted the housing sector, as well as, property tax. A lot more to discuss. My guest, who is Benjamin Ijahenda, is still on standby. Let's go on a short break. The program continues after the break. And you are still watching Business Daily, coming to you live on Trust TV. And just before the break, we started a conversation on the Nigerian real estate sector and the widening housing deficit that has been witnessed in recent times. And my guest, who is Benjamin Ijahenda, is still here with us. Thank you again for coming on the program.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, let's start off now with the rise in the urban settlement. We have seen, a mass exodus of people from rural settlements now to urban settlement, and that has highly impacted on the, rent, price of rent in places like Abuja. But let us hear from you. Some of these amounts, I should say, sometimes come out as, quite unbelievable, unusually very high amount. And you are someone who, like I said before, you are a major player in this sector. What would you say are the contributors to the rise in rent specifically, even before we talk about buying of this property, just rentals?
Okay, I think the major factor is the demand and supply of the housing, because if there are high demands and then low supply, if there is high demand and then low supply, definitely the prices is going to go up, just like in any other market. That's the market forces per se. So, and then secondly, which I would say the cause of the demand basically is search for greener pastures. And then of recent, we all know, looking back at around 2013, 2014, a lot of people were trooping into the urban areas as a result of insurgency that plagued some of our regions. But to the glory of God, a lot of things have come down, which definitely nobody will want to go back to the village after he has tested the urban life, you know. That's it. But then I think looking at what you earlier asked, the factors of, you know, rent increasing, if you look at the cost of construction now, everybody wants, a lot of people are depending on those rentals more like an income to them. So that's their means of livelihood. So if you were buying cement at 1,002 and now cement is going for around 7,000, you know, you will have to review those prices to be in tune with reality. So those are the major causes of the rent going up.
But the question now that I believe is on the minds of most Nigerians is the price that we're seeing, you know, currently, talking about the price of house rent, is it really the reality per se, putting into consideration, you know, the amounts, like you said, the cost of construction and all of those? I ask this because this is not, for over a long time now, there has been conversations around, you know, affordable housing from the government, from the private sector as well. And to think that we still have conversations around increasing minimum wage, talking about minimum wage of 30,000 Naira for the average Nigerian. Is there really a thing like affordable housing anymore?
I doubt if there is anything like affordable housing, because if you are looking at solving the housing deficit now, like a normal, like a civil servant now, let's say a level 7 civil servant. Now, the affordable housing that we're talking about, is it like a thatched house? Is it like a house built with mud or something? You get the point?
Yeah, these are the questions, exactly.
So, if we're talking about affordable housing, it has to be a good house. It has to be well built. If we're talking about a house that is well built, you know, there is nothing like affordability in it anymore. For you to house a civil servant, you know, it comes with some certain criteria, talking about the construction or the building criteria. Now, somebody will want the basic amenities like normal infrastructure, good road, good water, you know, stable electricity supply, and all this comes with a cost. So for me, actually, in real sense, we're just saying affordable housing by word of mouth. But the only way I can relate with affordability is probably when we have maybe like high-rising buildings that will take off the cost of land in the factors of production. You know, that's all, because the more the houses goes up, the lesser you will pay per square meter of cost of land, looking at the construction costs and all. You get the point? Because lands are really, really expensive. They are expensive, no doubt about it, and they are the major factor. You can't build on air. It has to be on land, and they are expensive. So
definitely.
So that's one. Then secondly, you know, we start talking about, just like I said earlier, the basic amenities and other factors that contribute to that. So of a truth, there is nothing like affordability, unless if, and all this cannot be left on the shoulder of the government. We individuals must have to come. We, the private players, must have to come, and then the only thing we can solicit from the government is maybe when it comes to land allocation, government should put in measures in place that will guarantee that whoever they are giving land to is somebody that is willing to develop. By the time we have influx of those allocations and people are developing, we'll get more supplies and the demand will be less. And then the prices will definitely come down. So I think those are some of the major steps that we can push towards attaining the affordability that we've been yearning about. But of a truth, looking at the current state, I don't think there is anything affordable.
You talked about, people acquiring lands and don't develop these lands, abandoned lands, abandoned houses. But then there is, the ongoing conversation around, property taxes that has been introduced by the current Minister of the FCT,
Yes.
Nyesom Wike. What is your idea of imposing that tax, for unoccupied mansions, unoccupied lands, undeveloped lands? What is your view on property taxes?
Okay, I think it's a good initiative that is going to bring revenue to the government and thereby facilitate development, because the more the government gets those revenues, the more they will have money in their coffers to develop infrastructure. Now let's imagine there are good infrastructure around places like Karsana, places like Airport Road, places like Apo, it will trigger development. It triggers development, it means more money for the government. And this property tax, I can assure you, it will discourage people that will just build houses and then travel outside and then they will be living there with nobody in it. By the time you are paying, let me tell you, they will start thinking of letting those properties out. They'll start thinking of letting it out by whether they like it or not, because the burden will be much on them. So for me, I think it's a very good initiative. Just that what I would advocate is that maybe they can do something like what they have applied in the electricity distribution company, like the band A, band B or something. You get the point. So where there are low income earners, the property tax can be less.
Okay.
Where maybe looking at the highbrow areas like Maitama, Asokoro, places like Utako, then the prices can be high as well. So that's what I will advocate on.
Interesting suggestion there. We do hope that those at the helm of affairs are listening. But you have constantly hammered on, the cost of production and how that has impacted the price generally when it comes to the housing sector. But one of the questions I would want to throw at you is, are there emerging trends? Because I do understand that there are certain areas where, housing construction has moved away from the formulas that we are used to, the use of cement. There are other options, I want to believe. But let's hear from you. Are there other emerging trends or innovative solutions that have been introduced into the real estate sector recently that could impact the accessibility or the affordability going forward? Something different from what we're used to.
Okay, right now I can't see any. Because the normal conventional cement, concrete, whatever was still in play up to now.
What of smart homes? Because I do understand that developers now want to, push the idea of smart homes to house buyers.
Well, they are more expensive than the normal. It's an emerging trend. But it doesn't affect directly on the cost of construction, and it doesn't affect on the output, meaning like it even means more for rent. It means more for house purchase, because these futures really increases on the cost of those houses. So they are trends, but then they come with a cost. So it doesn't affect or it doesn't add to any aspect of the affordability that we're talking about. Yes, they are. Not even the smart homes, the solar energy too, the solar system here is sustainable. The smart homes too is sustainable, but those are trends that are only for the rich folks.
Okay, just before we go, we'd like for you to give us some tips, for those watching and are wondering, okay, I intend to buy a home or I intend to rent a home or something. What should be the considerations when navigating the current housing market for home buyers and home renters?
Well, what I always advise my friends, my people is that if they are looking for home, they shouldn't be looking at a developed place. You know, no matter how far the place is, I can assure you development will definitely catch up with the place. So let's assume maybe you have 3 million that you can afford a land. Go buy the land. Go buy the land, because some people will be paying rent of about 4 million while they don't even have a land. A friend of mine called me last week. He traveled out a lot, and he was like, Ben, can you imagine? Will you believe if I tell you I don't even have 1 square meter in Abuja? And I'm like, how? Go buy the land in the outskirts, be paying your rent, putting in 1 or 2 blocks like that. Before you know, you own a house. But if you say you are going to wait till you get that amount that you so desire, family is growing up, the kids might want to travel abroad to get education and other things, and before you know, you retire in a rented apartment. So please, I'm just urging us, no matter what, no matter how far, it's never too far, because at a point, even Transcorp Hilton was in a bush.
So just start.
Just start where you are. By the time you keep going and going and going, what you have will appreciate. If it appreciates, you can sell it up at what you have and then get the location that you want. But just staying stagnant, you know, waiting for the time for you to purchase a property that you so desire in the location that you want is not it. So that's just what I have to say. My advice for the general public. That's for those that are saying it's too far, it's too far.
Advice on marble there by our guest Benjamin Ijahenda, saying just start. Like you said, even major places and very developed areas were once bushes, so start wherever it is that you are. Thank you again for all the insight you've dished out on today's edition of the program.
Thank you, Ma.
Well, this is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of Business Daily, coming to you live on Trust TV. Join the conversation on social media and let us hear your thoughts. How much is rent going for in the area that you currently are? Share with us and let us hear from you. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.